Coach, that they look more like the team that you've coached all year. What you like about how they played tonight?
Well, Pastor Trav in chapel today was talking about focus, and that was something we were, had an abundance tonight. We had a great deal of focus on the game plan, personnel, and rebounding was something that, even if we didn't come up with the board, I thought we had 3-4 guys in the paint scrapping for the rebound. But the defense tonight is, that's the backbone of our program. It's one of our pillars, being able to defend. And the one vein that was at a really high level tonight was just being able to guard the ball in one-on-one situations. I thought early in the game, we forced them into some late clock situations that helped us. And there were a number of guys that were able to stay in front of the ball tonight. And then we did, Bertans came in and hit a few threes, but outside of that, I thought we had really good awareness to steal out to their shooters and get a hand up. And we were pretty good in contest and stay. Sometimes when you're a big guy and you're contesting a smaller guy, you have a tendency to contest and take off. I thought we did a much better job of coming back to secure the rebound. So it was the defense tonight. When we get stops like that and are able to get out and transition, it gets us going, gets our crowd going. And I firmly believe that defense travels. It's the one thing that you can do in any gym.
Just had the second thing I had was we made a couple of different moves. Biombo coming in for DeAndre in the first quarter, and then Shamet playing instead of Payne. What led you to making those two?
Well, I mean, it's just a decision. You don't know how it's going to work out, but when we looked at some of the matchups and the energy that Biz brings to the game, it was a hard decision. I tried to play all three, but I just felt like we felt like Biz's energy would allow for us to, make energy plays. I mean, he didn't wow you with scoring and that kind of thing, but his attention to detail, his ability to play in multiple efforts on defense, and then he can't finish around the basket. And he's tough. That doesn't mean JaVale can't do it. We just went with Biz tonight because we knew he was going to bring that kind of energy, and he's matched up well against those guys. And then Landry has, in his minutes, he's shown that he can guard and stay in front of the ball a lot better than most people think. So that helped him, and then he can space the floor, and then his ability to handle the ball and initiate with Book allows for him to be on the floor with Book.
Last thing I had was for the game to end the way it did with Biombo and Chris, and then Chris chasing the tunnel. I mean, how do you even view all?
I mean, we're trying to win the game. I get the competitiveness of the game, but we're just trying to win the game. All that stuff that happens that's extracurricular is, I don't have anything to say about that. I understand how chippy it can be. We just want to win the game, and that's it. We're trying to get one more win, and that's our focus right now.
Monty, at the first time out of the first quarter, when some of the same problems were persisting, it looked like you got pretty animated in the huddle. What were you telling the guys in that moment?
The energy just wasn't where it needed to be for this type of game. It wasn't poor, but it wasn't great. And we still were, at that point, we had given up 4 threes in a short period of time. And that was, the game plan is to, try your best to take away the 3 ball or force a tough one. And I thought to start the game, just didn't have the kind of energy and focus and force that we had after that point. And it wasn't just me. The guys knew it. They understood that, we can't just play at a comfortable level. You almost have to play to exhaustion to make sure that you're, defending the way that we need to against a team like this. And then after that point, I mean, you can look at the quarter points. I mean, the defense was at a high level.
It felt like Book was able to keep you guys in a manageable spot until everything kind of got going in the third quarter.
Yeah.
What did you see from him just kind of keeping you guys
He's
up?
just getting to his spots. I mean, there were a few times in pick and roll where he would, get to a spot and raise up. Book has shot making ability that's unique to very few people. And in those moments, when we need him to settle us down, sometimes it's scoring that can settle you down. It allows for you to set your defense, and you're not turning the ball over. When you have a guy that can go get a shot like that.
What do you see from Mikel in terms of the way he made Doncic feel him tonight?
I mean, I'd have to look at the film, but just from the eye test and what I felt in the game, I thought he, did a really good job of pressuring a bit more tonight. We were much more physical against him. He's got a high release and he can make tough shots because of that release, and he's longer than you think. But I thought Mikel and Jay, Chris, with his ability to take charges, they were a bit more physical with him tonight. And you have to do that to the legal limit, especially in the playoffs. And then just, force him to shoot a tough two as best you can. But trying to keep him in front is a tall task for any team.
Coach, with Jay Crowder over here, was that a shoulder shot for him, or?
He got hit. I'm not quite sure. I think he's fine though. I saw him in the back, but I don't have anything official on him right now.
And with Mikel and DA, the way that they were able to get going tonight, was that a product of, like you were talking about, getting stops and getting out in transition, or was the ball moving a little bit better?
I mean, the ball movement was there. Our ability to get to the paint was there tonight. But again, it's the stops. I mean, when we can get stops and not have to call plays, that first pick and roll with DA has been pretty effective for us all year. I thought he did a really good job of playing in the paint, taking advantage of the switches against smaller guys. Like, that helped us. And then Mikel's just, thought his shot making to start the game helped us. It settled us down. He had a couple corner threes, I think, that gave us a bit of energy.
Monty, stats don't always tell the full story, but after allowing 23s in game 4, they go 8 for 32. And then also all the talk about defense in that third quarter, you guys forced 12 turnovers and 7 of them came on steals.
Yeah. I mean, the length of our team and the aggression, I think, one, you have to pressure the ball. Sometimes just pressuring the ball takes away a guy's vision, and it allows for guys to get steals away from the ball. But that was one of those, third quarter heightened awareness, come out of halftime with some juice, don't ease into it. And I thought we came out of the halftime with a great level of defensive focus. We showed some film at halftime, and the things that we talked about this morning at shoot around, they were executed, and we showed them at halftime, and then they came out and raised the level even more. And sometimes, when you raise your level like that with ball pressure and physicality, you tend to get your hands on balls sometimes, but we came up with them. We've been doing that in the last few games, but we haven't come up with the ball. They've been first to the ball. I thought we were the winners of that category tonight.
The Mavericks only had 9 assists for the whole game. Even when they had the lead 38-30, they still didn't have many assists to each shot. Looked like your whole defense was about, staying out on those shooters and not giving them the.
Trying to do a better job of that. But I mean, when a guy's in a one-on-one situation, I mean, it's a magnet at times, not just with your body, but with your eyes. Sometimes you just sit there and stare at that guy. And then when you're playing against Luka, like, if you stare, he can pick you apart. I thought we had much better focus to be able to hold our shift position, but trust the guy that's guarding the ball, and then move towards the shooters as best we could. It became somewhat of a one-on-one challenge at the end of shot clocks. And that's a thing that we always talk about with this team. They can play late in the shot clock because they have 2 guys that can go get a bucket. And we just did a much better job, like, guarding the ball, but also staying close to the shooters.
Given DA's foul trouble early, how important in that third quarter were his 2 offensive rebounds, putbacks, not only to him, but to what you eventually accomplished in that quarter?
Well, I mean, I think his ability to, dominate that part of the game is huge for us. He has a knack for the ball, whether it's tips to himself or tips to somebody else. But the mindset to be aggressive, even though you have a couple of fouls, like we don't want that to take away from his ability to do what he does really well, which is rebound the ball. So I got him out a bit earlier than I wanted to with 2, but after what happened with Chris last game, I didn't want to chance it with any of our guys. And I thought the guys who came in responded well. Biz came in for DA, and then Cam came in for Jay when he had foul trouble. So it's a tough decision, but I thought DA was still focused on being aggressive, even though he had a couple of fouls.
Monty, on the topic of Ayton, you knew the short roll pass was going to continue to be there. It's been there all series. What
Yeah.
was different about the way he was able to execute in those
Yeah.
situations, continue to move the ball, et cetera?
Sometimes it's different. They throw a bunch of different looks. If they're blitzing, then the short roll can be closer to the guy getting blitzed. But sometimes they go to a drop coverage. And so DA was at the rim a few times, and he has opportunities to dunk the ball. So I think it's something that we work on, but the players just make plays. He was in short rolls some, but then there were times where he was at the rim. I thought our guards did a good job of putting the ball where he could score around the basket. And I thought the best play he made out of that environment was where he came to a jump stop and didn't just throw it to the corner. I think he hit somebody on the right wing. That takes a lot of reps to remember to do that.
Why the wild swings in this series? I mean, it was a pretty even game in the first half. Then they come out in the second half. You hold them to 4 points in the first 6 minutes, 14 points in the quarter. It seemed like everything that they were doing in the first half they couldn't manage. Dasick had 3 points or something in the third quarter. It's been pretty typical of this series.
Man, you're giving me a lot of credit. I wish I had an answer for that. I don't. I think it's just playoff basketball. You're going to have swings like that. And we always talk about just having the mental stamina to deal with whatever it is. I don't have a great answer for that. I just think it's part of playoff basketball. Thank you.